Now that we've simplified the data, the next step is to deal with missing and invalid values, and also to fix the type of any columns that may be incorrect. So I'm going to go to the top again, and let's go ahead and load the first data set. And here we're not missing any values. All the values are valid, but this year is the wrong type. It should be an integer, and it's a float instead. And this name count is also the wrong type. And in addition, we might want to turn this gender column, which is currently a string, into a category, which is basically a list of values. So if you look at the info for the data frame, basically we will leave this name alone. It should be string, and that's what it is mostly. Year should be int, gender should be category, and name count should also be int. And in order to make those changes, let's go ahead and go to the end. And I'm going to go ahead and insert a new cell, and we'll make this markdown, and we'll use level 3 header, clean up values and column types. And then let's add a cell after that. So here's the data frame currently, and there's a couple of different ways to change the type of these columns to be integer, but I like to use as type because it's pretty flexible. So if I do data frame and then I pull out the year column and I do as type int, that's going to take, and actually let me put this in single quotes here. This will take all the values in this year column and convert them into integer, and anything that can't be converted to an integer is going to cause an error. But I think everything here can be converted to an integer, so there won't be a problem. And if I execute that, I see that the return result has the same index as before, but then the values, it's a series of values that are all integer type. So now I can do a couple of things with this series. I can either replace the current df sub year like so. So this is going to overwrite the current values in the year column with the integer values. And that's one thing I can do. Or I can add a new column like int year like so. And then I'll have both the original year data and also a new column called int year that has the integer values. And then later on, I would drop the df year. So your choice as to whether to just overwrite it or whether to keep it in a separate column along with the original really has to do with how confident you are that you're done with the original values. And in this case, I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to need to touch this again, so I'm just going to go ahead and overwrite the original values. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing for the name counts. So df sub name counts is df sub name counts dot as type int. And then for the gender, I can use the special type category. Whoops. Missed a step there. Okay. And so what category actually turns out to be is it keeps a table of all of the distinct values. And then the index into that table is what actually gets stored into the column. So instead of using a string, which could be arbitrary length, it's just going to have an integer instead. So generally this is a little bit more space efficient, but there's not really much other reason to do it. So that should be all of the columns that I want to change. Let's go ahead and look at the results after I execute that. And I got an error, so let me take a look. So name counts was not correct. It's name count. So let's try that. Great. So this one looks done. String here. And if I wanted to, I could also do this. So df sub name is df sub name dot as type stir. So it looks the same, but if I do df.info, I should see all the correct types here. So name is still object. That's just the type for strings. And then year is an int32. I could also have set this to int64 if I needed to, but 32 is plenty fine. Then gender is category, and name count is int32.